motorsport venues in the entire United States. Mix in a little family fun, 150,000 of your friends, and you've got the second annual Thunder on the Beach in Wildwood, New Jersey. Hi, everybody. I'm Doc Riley, and welcome to Wheel Power. Coming up, it's day 2 of side-by-side monster truck action. Some of the best in the business are putting full throttle down here on a very unique course. It's on the beach, Thunder on the Beach. Stay with us as Wheel Power continues for the second annual Battle on the Beach. Welcome back to Wheel Power and the second annual Thunder on the Beach from Wildwood, New Jersey. Yesterday, absolutely beautiful side-by-side monster truck racing underneath great conditions, a little bit unique because these drivers not used to running on sand. Now, last night, Mother Nature came a-calling and dumped a whole bunch of water on the beach right here, so it's going to be unique to see how these drivers are able to handle that new little wrinkle thrown at them. All the drivers were given an opportunity today to kind of take a little test run to see how they were going to be able to set up their vehicles with the sand and also with that added moisture. Yesterday's winner, Lonnie Childress of the Bigfoot Ford, taking home the victory. He is definitely one of those guys that you've got to watch because he can make lots of things happen.
Well, we made a few changes from yesterday. You know, we done real good yesterday. We took the win out. We would like to see Digger make the whole pass, but you know, that happens. We stepped up in gear. We've leaned her down a little bit more, you know, changed tire pressure a little bit. The sand's a lot wetter. I think it's going to be a lot faster track today, so we're looking for a good race.
Dennis Anderson, the driver of the Gravedigger, finished second yesterday. He does not like that spot. He called his shop. They delivered a brand new race truck for him today.
All right, this is our last day on the beach down here racing, and hey, man, we got a bunch of tough competitors out here. All I can say is Katie barred the doors, man. We're going to have this old panel truck in the wind. We're going to run it for all it's got. We don't have anything to lose but a race, and if we lose that, there's always another weekend. But, man, I'm gonna mash this old panel truck, and maybe I can take it to the finals. I like to pull off at least one win before we leave this beach this year. I've won one time last year, I believe. I like to pull off a win down here this year.
Gary Porter in the Carolina Crusher, one of the best in the business of monster truck racing. This is his first trip to the beach, and he knows that setup is very important.
Well, on the sand track, you try to run, you know, a little bit taller gear, you know, on this long track so you won't spin so much coming off the starting line, and yet have enough power left on the other end, you know, to motor on past the other guy you're racing.
David Morris, the man behind the wheel, the equalizer. He's been to the beach before, and he knows that setup is crucial, especially at the starting line.
This is a pretty exciting race here on the beach. We're not used to running in the sand. It's a little bit different. I think it's taking a little bit different strategy here because it seems like everybody's spinning the tires in the sand where we normally can hook it in the dirt and go ahead. But you know, if we let too much air out when we jump, it'll knock, you know, collapse the tire off the wheel. So, but it's pretty exciting here. We enjoy coming here and racing on the beach, and I'm just glad to be here.
Tim Hanikow, the driver of the Barefoot Dodge, has been putting in lots of hours trying to figure out the setup here at the beach.
Oh, it's a lot of different. It's a whole different setup. It's amazing the difference that it is. And I've been struggling all night long trying to come up with a combination to run for today. I think I've got it. I worked up into the rain last night. Now it's stopped. We're ready to go.
Drivers out to have their opportunity to kind of experiment a little bit here on the beach as we get ready for first round action. Boy, the rain has put the little damper things on the track, but the people having fun, still arriving here. You can't put a good time down. Over 150,000 people expected in Wildwood, New Jersey for the second annual showdown. Our first showdown puts the Barefoot Dodge up against the Excalibur. Tim Hanikow has been working very hard. He'd like to be able to call Fred Schaefer back in Pontoon Beach and tell him good news they were able to win. Barefoot will match up against Excalibur. Chuck Pauken behind the wheel. This will be our first matchup here in first round competition, and it'll be interesting to see how the starting line is affected by these 10,000-pound race trucks. The first two guys out of the box, the winner moves on to the next round. The loser, he gets a sideline pass for the rest of the weekend. But it'll be interesting to see if all three different parts of the racetrack are going to come together here. again, moving into the next round. Boy, the track looked like it held up very, very well for both competitors. Dick Excalibur into round number 2. Next up out of the pit area from Waitsboro, North Carolina, it's Gary Porter and the Carolina Crusher Chevrolet. He's got a big tall gear in there, and let's see how that'll do here in the right lane. He will match up against Dennis Anderson out of Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. So a couple of Tar Heels going at it here on the beach in New Jersey. Dennis Anderson wants to win and wants to move into the finals. He ended up second yesterday, a spot he does not like at all. Matter of fact, they brought a new race truck in from North Carolina so he can run it here. This will be a great matchup. Both of these guys very experienced. Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger, a guy that lets it all hang out. Gary Porter, maybe a little bit more technical as a driver, maybe a little bit more reliant on the chassis setup for his Carolina Crusher. Anyway, they'll go side by side. Now, the quickest in this particular round, the quickest of the losers, comes back to fill out the rest of the ladder. A good one here. Dennis Anderson in the far lane. The near lane, it's Gary Porter. Right down to it with the experience and the setup. Maybe that tall gear of Gary Porter as he takes the Carolina Crusher into the next round with the victory. Our next pair, Above and Beyond. Pat Suma behind the wheel here. And he goes up against the Liquidator, a couple of guys that have been battling here on this track for the past 2 years. Now, this event, perfect yesterday. Conditions were absolutely great. Today, a little bit of water. As we look in the near lane right now, the launch area, the starting line area, is starting to kind of pool up a little bit. And that will maybe cause a bit of a problem for Pat Suma. Bob Fisher, the Liquidator, he's over on the far side, over that left lane. So these two get set to square it off here on the beach. We'll keep a close eye on that starting line to see how that launch pad develops here as we continue moving through round number 1. Pat Suma gets a good jump off the line Above and Beyond, but he gets held up a little bit, a little bogged down, so give the win to Bob Fisher in the Liquidator. He'll move on to round number 2 as that left lane has got the winner so far today. Moving on, up next, it is the Blue Ribbon Bandit. Behind the wheel, Tony Farrell, no stranger to the Wildwood Beach event here. Second time for Thunder on the Beach. He will match up against yesterday's winner, Lonnie Childress. That in the Bigfoot Ford out of Hazelwood, Missouri. So a couple of guys getting set to do battle here that have had some experience on this particular track layout. Now, monster truck driving in the past 20 years has been all over to unique venues, but no place have they ever been on the beach. And today with that water we had last night, well, that just throws a whole nother wrinkle into it. And you look at Bigfoot right now as he starts his little staging procedures. Really wet over there in the right lane, that near lane to the camera. Very, very wet. And as they continue, full shot off that line, it just continues to build that hole, and the water just seems to collect right there. Lonnie Childress, however, has a number of different tricks in his bag. We'll see what he can do with the Bigfoot Ford. Meanwhile, the Blue Ribbon Bandit, Tony Farrell, moving into the staging lanes. He's over on the left side. We get set for another round here in the first round. Bigfoot takes on the Blue Ribbon Bandit. The upset of round number 1. Tony Farrell puts Bigfoot back into the loser's bracket right there. Farrell with a big first round win. He's in the left lane right now. The starting line may cause some problems for competitors. Let's see what the rest of the field can do here as we're closing in on round number 1. But a big win for Tony Farrell. Tom Means up next to the Monster Patrol. This guy, a whole shot artist from way back, former mud racer. He will match up against the Mopar Magic. That's Ken Martin behind the wheel. Ken Martin's first trip here to the beach. We'll see what the Mopar Magic can do as these two get set to go side by side. We're still in round 1. Lots of ways to go before we crown a champion here at the second annual Thunder on the Beach in Wildwood, New Jersey. Near lane again, Ken Martin and Mopar Magic. And in the far lane, Monster Patrol and Tom Means. Monster Patrol taking a win by a large margin, and that right lane right now is not the quick lane, not the place to be if you want to move on. But again, the quick loser here in the first round will come back into the cleanup round, and that's on the way next. Taking a look at first round winners, the Excalibur, Carolina Crusher, the Liquidator, Blue Ribbon Bandit, Monster Patrol. Stay with us. Second round action, the cleanup rounds on the way next. Stay with us. Wheel Power continues. Welcome back to Wheel Power in Wildwood, New Jersey. The cleanup round, our second round on the way. Dennis Anderson gets a break here. He was the quickest time in the first round, so he comes back here in the cleanup round. He'll match up against the surprise of the first round. Well, maybe not a surprise, but Chuck Packin right now in the Excalibur is on a roll. He's done very, very well on this particular track. Dennis Anderson's had problems this week, and they brought a new truck in, so he would able to maybe come up with a better advantage. During the break, came back in, filled those holes up here in the right lane. We'll have to see how long that's going to last. But it's Dennis Anderson in the near lane and the Excalibur over on the far side. Dennis Anderson way out of shape right there, and the Excalibur continues to do things just by the book. Picture perfect. Chuck Packin going into the next round. Let's take a look at this one again. You see Gravedigger coming off the line, gets bent out of shape right after the first set of cars. That throws him all the way out of kilter right there. He's a good enough driver, but once that 10,000 pounds starts going in a different direction, it's tough to catch up. Next up, it is the Carolina Crusher and Gary Porter. His first trip to the beach, and he thinks he's got it pretty much figured out as far as the chassis setup for this big old Chevrolet. He matches up against a guy who's really looking to turn a season around right here. It is the Liquidator, Bob Fisher behind the wheel. Fisher had an impressive first round win as well. Into the second round right here. These guys are looking for that finals. It's going to be really something to say that you won on the beach. Gary Porter lasts the stage right now. Porter in the far lane and Fisher in the Liquidator in the near lane. Gary Porter, the Carolina Crusher, hugs the ground, all the horsepower right to the beach. He'll move on to the next round. A big win for Gary Porter in his first trip to New Jersey. Tony Farrell wheeling the Bandit out of the garage area. Up against David Morris, the Equalizer. These two guys have both been to this spot before. They've played at this particular playground here at Wildwood, New Jersey last year. And right now I think that it's going to be the guy who can get the best start off the line. They're pretty much matched up in horsepower, so it's going to be very key when they start to cut that light. Let's see what happens here. Bandit up against the Equalizer. Great side-by-side battle. The Bandit had it off the line, but David Morris picks up the win. Horsepower down at the top end, the reason for victory there. Morris moves on to the next round. The next pair features Tom Meets in the Monster Patrol, a good running Chevy, up against Tim Hanikow in the Dodge Barefoot. Now, it looks like the track is holding up pretty well right now. We had problems in the first round with those big old tires just clawing and kicking up that sand. But Dodge Barefoot right now into that right lane where that hole may start to develop a little bit. As we started this particular round, they brought in some sand and some more dirt to kind of build it up a little bit. Tom Meets in the Monster Patrol, Tim Hanikow in the Dodge Barefoot. Barefoot problems right off the line, and look at Tom Meets skate to an easy victory here in the second round. Hanikow having nothing but problems, that in the Barefoot Dodge. So Tom Meets, the Monster Patrol, will move in now to the quarter-final round. A big victory for him. Let's take a look at how they squared up. Excalibur, Carolina Crusher, Equalizer, and the Monster Patrol, they all head into the next round, our quarter-final round. People enjoying all the great things. Gary Porter, the Carolina Crusher, into the second round. He'll match up against the surprise in the first round, the Excalibur, Chuck Packin, who said that it's a little tough working here on the beach.
It's a combination, actually. It's a different world because the sand is a lot easier landing. It's easier on the equipment as far as landing, as far as me getting whipped around inside the truck. That's easier. But the thing is, the sand is getting into everything, the saltwater spray, and that stuff takes its toll and gets into everything.
As you can see, no walk in the park here on the beach. Gary Porter getting set, Mr. Experience in this matchup right here. The winner moves on, and I think this is going to be one of the closest races we've had all day. Porter, lots of experience, but look out for the Excalibur, a hot one here in the second round. Not a bad matchup there. The Excalibur running pretty well, but I think the experience of Gary Porter pays off there as the Carolina Crusher marches to the finals. Next pair up will be Tony Farrell in the Blue Ribbon Bandit as he marches up right now. That right lane seems to be holding up pretty well. That little maintenance that they did to start this round really has helped out quite a bit. Tom Meets on the other side, the Monster Patrol, Mr. Quick out of the gates. This will be determined on who's got the whole shot and who can keep the horsepower planted to the ground. Tom Meets on the far side, and in the near lane, it's Tony Farrell in the Blue Ribbon Bandit. The winner moves on to the finals. Bandit gets held up in the near lane by a little tough track condition. Tom Meets soldiers on. He'll move on to the finals. Monster Patrol making his way back to the garage area. The finals coming up next. We will need to find out who the king of the beach is going to be. The final round matches Gary Porter and the Carolina Crusher and Tom Meets and the Monster Patrol. It will be a good one right here at Wildwood, New Jersey. Thunder on the Beach, year number 2. Welcome back to Wheel Power and the finals. Thunder on the Beach here at Wildwood, New Jersey. Getting ready, Tom Meets of the Monster Patrol. He has made his way into the finals. He'll match up against Gary Porter out of Wadesboro, North Carolina, and the Carolina Crusher. So we've got a whole lot of horsepower up against a whole lot of experience. Carolina Crusher in the right lane. This lane has caused some problems for a number of competitors because the water's starting to pool up there a little bit. But I'll tell you one thing, Gary Porter's been at this game long enough. He knows how to get through some of those rough and tough spots. Should be a good final with Tom Meets staging up right now and Gary Porter set to bring the Crusher to the line. Should be an awfully great final, and what a way to end a pretty good weekend here in Wildwood, New Jersey with the finals of Thunder on the Beach. Great side-by-side monster truck race. Gary Porter and Tom Meets just about even as they come over the first set of cars. And then Porter with a little bit more horsepower picks up a victory here. His first trip to Wildwood, New Jersey, and this Thunder on the Beach. So Gary Porter picks up the win there. Pretty good effort by Tom Meets as well. That former mud racers had a little bit of fun here this weekend as well. So second place, not a bad shot when you're going up against one of the truly tough guys in monster truck racing. Oh, and look at this. Time for a little fun as they both have a couple of minutes just to kind of clown around a little bit. You get 10,000 pounds in front of you and you're done racing. Why not take an opportunity just to kind of go up and see what you can do? Cutting some cookies, and let's see what Tom Meets can do. This guy has been all over the United States, hung up on the banner right here, and he's just kind of out having a little free-for-all as Gary Porter does some high-flying acrobatics here. So Tom Meets getting set to go back to Illinois, and what a problem this is going to be as he plays it over on its top, out messing around on the beach. What do you say? What do you say?
Yeah, we sure did. I mean, it was luck. We really worked for it here at Wildwood. The truck, we was having problems with it. We found out in qualifying with our timing. We couldn't keep the timing, you know, at the degree we wanted it. But, you know, we checked it just about every round. The lanes were playing a big role in who was winning the races today, and sometimes I got stuck in a bad lane, and, you know, somehow I was just able to pull it off. Well, they don't get any better than that. You know, with me and Monster Patrol in the finals, you know, luckily I won the race, and then doing the freestyle, I'd have to say he won the freestyle. You know, I mean, you can't have a better finale of a show than what that was.
Well, congratulations to Gary Porter on taking the win today, and also congratulations to Dave Sutton and the New Jersey Hot Rod Association for putting on another spectacular event here in Wildwood, New Jersey. I'm Doc Riley. We'll talk to you again real soon. Join us again next week for another edition of Wheel Power. Again next week for